Thank you for making the time to be with us this 10th of October on Monday Night News. I'm Yvonne Okwara Matole, and our sign language interpreter is William Silla. Now, the voices of people who are forced to live with the loss of their loved ones. These are the voices we feature tonight in part 2 of Where Are They Now? Where Are Our Children? Join John Allen Namu of Africa Uncensored as he brings us witness accounts and the testimonies of families whose relatives were killed by police. We will be bringing you that special investigative piece in the course of this bulletin. Remember, it airs only on KTN News, so do make a programming note for that. But let's get to the top stories of the day today. Court leader Raila Odinga demanding tonight the immediate termination of the 6.8 billion shilling Northern Water Collector Tunnel project. Raila claims the project will turn Murang'a, Garissa, Ukambani and Tana River Delta regions into deserts within 5 years. But in a quick rejoinder, the Jubilee administration dismissed his statement.
The Northern Water Collector Tunnel project, which is being funded by the World Bank, has been under construction since 2014 within the Aberdare Ranges. The water tunnel, which has a diameter of 3 meters and a depth of 250 meters, will be expected to collect water from 5 major rivers in Murang'a County, as well as Tana River, and direct it to Ndakaine Dam and later Nairobi County to deal with the menace of water shortage in the capital. But according to CODCO Principal Raila Odinga, the Jubilee administration should stop with immediate effect the construction of the tunnel.
This project will lead to severe loss of water on the Tana River, which will lead to drying up of both ground and underground rivers and streams in Garissa, Ukambani, and Tana River Delta. The effects will be so severe that the larger Murang'a, Garissa and Ukambani and Tana River Delta region will be desert within 5 years of this project being implemented.
Raila insists that the 6.8 billion shilling project is being constructed secretly and that no environmental assessment was done before the construction commenced and that the public was not involved.
President Uhuru Kenyatta needs to address the people living in the Tana River Basin and tell them why this government is proceeding with the implementation of this project in such a secrecy. 2, the President must put an immediate stop to this project until A, proper public participation is conducted in all areas of Murang'a, in Garissa, Ukambani, and the Tana River Delta region.
3 hours later, after Raila Odinga's dossier, the Jubilee administration, led by Majority Leader in the National Assembly, Aden Duale, and Water Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa, came out to respond to Raila's claims, accusing him of being behind the project.
December 17, 2012, the former Prime Minister presided over a function in one of the hotels in Nairobi. In attendance, among many others, was officials of the World Bank, officials from the French government, and then Minister for Water, Madam Charity Ngilu. And the former minister dubbed that launch as the Kenya biggest water project, which was known as Northern Collector Tunnel.
Several phases, and the tunnel was part of it, and this was negotiated with the World Bank, and it is within the full knowledge of the former Prime Minister who launched it.
However, according to Raila, what he launched in 2012 was the Nairobi Water Master Plan, which was to come in various phases and included drilling boreholes and constructing dams.
We need water. That goes without question. But there are other ways of dealing with that issue. The issue really has been to harvest water by construction of dams. This is the practice now around the world.
I challenge him. He initiated this project. If 10% commission was agreed on between him and the contractors then, And now that he has realized the 10% maybe the project didn't go to the company of his choice. I even don't know who was given. The Raila Odinga should tell Kenyans that I am crying.
The tunnel was projected to boost Nairobi with about 700,000 cubic meters of water a day after completion. According to the master plan, 1.2 billion liters of water will be required daily by 2035 and 670 million liters by 2017. The tunnel initially faced strong opposition from Murang'a residents and political leaders who expressed fears that it might deplete underground water and cause earthquakes. Chris Dairo, KTN News.
And so our big question tonight, we're asking you, should the Northern Collector Water Tunnel project be stopped? Should that project be stopped tonight in the wake of allegations and counter-allegations between both sides of the political divide? Send us your thoughts. The number is 22155. You can also send us a tweet at KTN News, at Yvonne Okwara. Yes, and your messages are coming through. Joseph Wataka says, no, the project should continue. Raila is envious of Jubilee's development agenda. Do you agree with Joseph? Please keep your comments coming in throughout this bulletin. Now I want to focus on matters taking place within the corridors of justice, and that is to do with the JSC interviews. Court of Appeal Judge Philomena Mwilu will be Kenya's Deputy Chief Justice if Parliament approves her nomination by the Judicial Service Commission. Justice Mwilu beat 11 other candidates interviewed for the position, which fell vacant following the retirement of Justice Kalpana Rawal. JSC's announcement of the nomination came as Parliament prepares to consider Justice David Maraga's nomination for the position of Chief Justice.
I come with experience gained both from the judiciary, which I think is very important, grown from the nursery of the High Court.
Exactly a week after she appeared before the Judicial Service Commission, Court of Appeal Judge Justice Philomena Mwilu emerged as a favorite for the position of Deputy Chief Justice after beating 11 candidates, 6 of them from the Court of Appeal bench. Justice Mwilu, who was admitted as an advocate of the High Court in 1984, began her career on the bench 9 years ago, serving at the High Court in Nairobi and Eldoret for 5 years before being appointed Court of Appeal judge. Prior to joining the judiciary, she served as senior legal manager for the Jubilee Insurance Company for 9 years. Before then, she had practiced law for 13 years. When she appeared before the JSC, Justice Mwilu told commissioners she would prioritize the fight against corruption in the judiciary.
I have done whatever was my duty to the best of my ability. I intend to continue doing that.
The JSC nominated her 4 days to the 7-day deadline stipulated by the Judicial Service Act, which requires the JSC to forward a name to the President within 7 days after conclusion of the interviews. She was nominated on the same day that the JSC began interviews for the position of Judge of the Supreme Court, with Court of Appeal Judge Justice Al-Nashir Visram taking the hot seat. Justice Visram was unlucky in his bid for the position of Chief Justice. Court of Appeal Judge Agnes Murgor, who was interviewed for the position of Deputy Chief Justice, and High Court Judge Justice Musaga Mbogoli, who lost his bid for the Chief Justice post, was scheduled to appear before the JSC, but opted to have their previous performance used as a rating for the position of Judge of the Supreme Court. Rita Tinina, KTN News.
5 security guards were hacked to death in Malaba town at dawn today, sparking protests that lasted most of the day. And as our Western region reporter Robert Wanyonyi now tells us, tension is still high in the town that lies along the Kenya-Uganda border.
These were the scenes in Malaba town along the Kenya-Uganda border early today. Security officers determined to condemn demonstrators that had stormed the area police station to protest what they termed increasing incidents of insecurity at the border town. This situation was sparked off by a dawn attack in which 5 night shift guards were hacked to death, with several other people escaping with injuries. The victims being rushed to Bungoma Referral Hospital.
Sasa usiku tunaweza kufanywa na watu sio bilizano wakatupiga wakatuumiza sisi karibu watu 5 hivi.
Emotions ran high in the border town as angry residents engaged the police in running battles for the better part of the day, the results of which saw a temporary closure of the Kenya-Uganda border, major roads barricaded with stones, with businesses and the border custom offices closed.
Tutahama kwa sababu sasa ikifika hivyo itabidi tuame. Wafunge border. Border tuitaiacha, tutafanya aje, tutakaa mali tunauliwa kama wanyama.
A section of the business community and some residents say they fear for more attacks may drive them to consider relocation.
Usalama imerudi chini, tunaomba hao wakubwa wa polisi wa hapa Malaba, tunawaomba waondoke. Watoe wa polisi wengine. Hiyo ikitendeka, iko police post around hapa karibu 150 meters ambayo tungehisi kwamba wangekuja labda wasaidie kwa sababu kulikuwa na kelele ama nduru, lakini hao watu hawakusaidika.
However, the border security team has assured residents of improved security, vowing to pursue the gang that stole nothing during the 3 a.m. attack.
Hakuna askari ama yule ambaye analinda amani ambaye anafaa kushirikiana na wahalifu. Hiyo ni ukweli ambao hatuwezi badilisha. Na kama kuna wachache ambao labda wameweza kufanya mambo kama haya, nitawahakikisha wakaji wa Malaba kwamba hatuko na wao.
The killings have left Malaba town a no-go zone for the better part of the day, with the residents questioning the manner in which the attack was planned and the style in which it was executed 50 meters away from the Malaba police station. Robert Wanyonyi, KTN News, in Malaba, Busia County.
3 nurses have been charged in connection with the murder of a patient at the Kenyatta National Hospital last year. Priscilla Wairimu, Godfrey Mureithi, Rosemary Nkonge and Mary Muthoni were charged with the murder of 42-year-old cancer patient Cosmas Mutunga. The deceased was stabbed to death by unknown people on the 29th November 2015 at Ward 8C of Kenyatta National Hospital. Justice Jessie Lesit, who is presiding over the case, ordered the defense to make a formal bail application to be heard on the 31st of October this year. The courtroom was packed to capacity as fellow nurses attended the proceedings to show solidarity with the accused. A woman who was charged with selling illicit liquor that caused the death of 8 people in Ruiru 5 years ago has been sentenced to death. Judge Jessie Lesit sentenced Jennifer Wanjiro following the deaths in 2011 after consumption of the alcohol she sold to them. She faced 8 counts of murder but was found guilty for the deaths of 5. The judge found that the illicit liquor was laced with ethanol and methanol with levels that were lethal, hence causing the death of the 5. The judge also noted that as a result of the illicit brew, many others were hospitalized.
Will be held in abeyance. Sentence of this person to death in each of these 5 counts.
Welcome back to Monday Night News and to some good news tonight. 27-year-old Jacqueline Mwende, whose arms were cut off in late July over alleged infertility, has finally returned home. She now prepares to start a fresh journey in her life after receiving treatment abroad.
Relatives and friends share in the happiness of their loved one. After months of treatment in South Korea, Jacqueline Mwende is more than ready to face the future with her newly acquired limbs. Her head injury is all healed now, but marriage is no longer a priority, despite having forgiven her husband for his animosity.
Nilifika Korea, walinifanyia vizuri, walinitibu, wakanitengenezea mikono, wakaniwekesha mikono vizuri, anashukuru Mungu sana. Mambo ya doa mimi siku hizi hapana. Naweza jitegemea mimi mwenyewe kwa sababu kama maisha ni ya kupoteza mikono juu ya ndoa, mimi naweza jitegemea nikae maisha yangu mimi kinyewe.
Si kuwa nafikiri kama msichana anaweza kuwa vile alivyo sasa. Kwa hivyo sasa mimi nasikia furaha sana.
The My Electronic prosthetic limbs funded by LG Electronics at a cost of 3 million shillings are powered by a battery and electronic motors, which will last for a span of 10 years. The artificial hands will assist Mwende in becoming self-reliant, and charging them will now be part of her daily routine. The limbs will enable her to perform 80% of chores, not limited to bathing, holding a cup, and receiving a phone call. She will, however, not do any heavy tasks as she is still learning how to use them.
She is here today with a bit of function, but it takes a long while to train. Her muscles will need to be trained to use this kind of a stump. We know that the training is normally about 2 months before they get used to using them well.
Despite being married for 7 years, Mwende's arms were chopped off below the elbow and incurred head injuries reportedly after the man she loved attacked her for not being able to conceive. Caroline B., KTN News.
Thank you for keeping it KTN News Now for Business. My name is Joy Doreen Bira. The Central Bank of Kenya has announced it will this month sell a 15-year infrastructure bond to raise up to 30 billion shillings to fund roads, water and energy projects. The statement by the Central Bank said the bond will have a 12% coupon rate and will take bids until the 18th of October, then auction the paper on the 19th of October. At 5.56 trillion shillings, Kenya's total infrastructure investment is the largest single one in over 5 years, with majority of funds focused on roads, telecommunications and power generation infrastructure. Kenya is banking on its infrastructure investment to bring in returns from across Eastern Africa. According to Reuters, Kenya's infrastructure indicators remain below the levels found in Africa's middle-income economies like Egypt or Nigeria. Land prices in satellite towns rose by 7% in the third quarter of 2016 and 21.4% over the year, the highest growth rate in the last 3 years, as the suburbs continue to feel the positive effects of infrastructure investment. According to a report by Has Consult, the growth momentum in prices has been sustained by the announcement of the construction of Western Bypass and more recently the proposed commuter rail that will link satellite towns to the Central Business District, shortening transit times. Juja was the best performing satellite town, with land in the satellite town increasing by 14.5% over the quarter, followed by Limuru and Riru, which recorded asking price increases of 12.4% and 11.2% respectively. A delay in disbursement of funds meant for the purchase of 2 ferries will see the arrival of the Turkey-ordered ferries extended by an extra 3 months. Thousands of commuters cross the Likoni Channel daily using the ferries, which are now said to be in serious mechanical condition.
17 Financial Budget. Treasury Cabinet Secretary Henry Rotich allocated 1.1 billion shillings to the Kenya Ferry Services for the purchase of new ferries and repair of old ones. But while the purchase order to have the ferries shipped from Turkey was made in good time, the funds from the Exchequer were disbursed late. This means regular commuters on the Likoni ferry will have to wait 90 days longer before they can sail on new ferries.
We'll have some delays on that one. But that is something which we cannot tentatively discuss until when we have the new ferries. But the progress of the work is good.
Over 300,000 commuters cross daily at Likoni Ferry Channel. Kenya Ferry Services 5 vessels which are old and break down regularly, strangling passengers mid-channel. These mishaps have cost tourists dearly when coming from the South Coast-based resorts, reaching the airports late and sometimes have had to miss their flights altogether.
We signed the contract, we made an advance payment, but that had to be followed by a letter of credit Unfortunately, the letter of credit delayed for some time, but they have the LC in place, and we expect the process to go on smoothly.
It is hoped that while the arrival of 2 new ferries will put to rest the economic and social challenges posed daily to commuters and business owners, it will also put to rest concerns over safety that are always at the back of the minds of commuters. The 2 new ferries procured in Turkey were to be delivered in February of 2017, but that will have to wait for now. The modern ferries to be delivered are double-decked to accommodate vehicles and passengers separately. Joy Doreen Bira, KTN News.
And on to other stories making headlines in business. Here now is Ashley Missouri.
Over 600 unemployed youth are set to benefit from a joint internship recruitment drive by Tuskys Supermarket in partnership with KCB's Tujajiri Foundation. The move is expected to help tackle youth unemployment in the country and in the long run create sustainable businesses for the foundation's beneficiaries. Tuskys Supermarket launched the internship program in October last year, and the process to shortlist the beneficiaries of the program begins next week. Meanwhile, Germany is set to spend 28 billion shillings in development cooperation with Kenya over the next 2 years to improve water access in the country. According to Water and Irrigation Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa, the accelerated involvement of the private sector in water provision is expected to enable the country address its water scarcity, which currently stands at 65% in urban areas and 49% in rural ones. And finally, at the international level, Korean manufacturer Samsung has reportedly been forced to temporarily halt production of its flagship smartphone. As Samsung investigates a spate of fires with its supposedly safe Galaxy Note 7 replacement units, the outlet cited an unnamed source at a Samsung supplier, saying that the decision was reached in cooperation with authorities in China, the United States, and Korea.
That was not Ashley Missouri, that was Peter Wakaba. Well, that's it for KTN Business. My name is Joy Doreen Bira. Have a good night, but remember, for more business, log on to our website, ktnnews.com.
The completion of the Eldoret rally over the weekend saw Finnish rally driver Tapio Luukkonen extend his lead on the KNRC log with 25 points ahead of Kisumu-based Jaspreet Chatter, who had to contend with a puncture in the 4th stage.
With only 2 legs remaining before the end of the 2016 edition of the Kenya National Rally, Finnish driver Tapio Luukkonen remains rooted at the top of the Kenya National Rally standings with a total of 125 points after his hard-fought win in Eldoret last weekend. Kisumu-based driver Jaspreet Chatter's hopes of climbing the leaderboard were thwarted, and he remains rooted second on the log, 25 points adrift of the leader, followed in third by Rajbir Rai, while Carl Flash Tundo is fourth with 66 points. Eldoret Rally's second finisher Manvir Barian is fifth.
No, definitely. I mean, after those 2 retirements, it's definitely good to finish, and yeah, we look forward to doing better in the coming rounds.
Meanwhile, an all-woman crew driver, Tash Tundo, hopes the last 2 legs of the National Rally will bring with it good tidings.
I think it was just a question of getting our notes right, which we seem to do, and yeah, just keeping it steady on the road, which the only thing that went wrong was our diff. We lost our rear diff, so that kind of slowed us down in the second half of the rally, but we made it home, so that's the most important thing.
Elsewhere in the 2WD category, Eric Benji remains top of the standings with 120 points in a close placing where second place Alex Lairangi is just a point adrift, while Leonardo Varese is third with 86 points. Lynn Washira, KTN News.
All right, now Football Kenya Federation Nick Mwendwa says he is pleased with his performance since he took over the federation 8 months ago. Despite the challenges of an inherited debt from the past regime that continues to cripple FKF financially, Mwendwa says Harambee Stars as well as the Harambee Starlets are at a better place that signals a brighter future.
In recent times, gone 6 matches unbeaten. We've not. That's one. 2, Stanley Okumbi is 35 years old. 15 years from today, he can take this nation to glory. From today. Why? He can go away to DRC and bring back a win. Which coach has done that? Not even 2004 when we qualified. I think it was in 90s. No other coach has done so.
So Stanley Okumbi is definitely here to stay.
He's here to stay while I'm here, unless a disaster is going to be here. But I tell you this, the work these guys have put in, we have a video analyst in that camp. We have a psychologist in that camp. Then we have a team of 4 coaches who I have never seen such work in my life. You know, when we came to the office, we had no time to prepare nothing. Now we're playing Benin in November. We're going to Sekafa, Senior Challenge Cup here.
Yeah.
We're preparing our Chan team with that. We're playing Cameroon for the Chan team to start preparing the Chan and Sekafa. Then in March next year, we play big friendlies next year before June. Then we start the qualification for AFCON next year at that time.
The Standard Group this weekend sponsored a golf tournament at Thika Sports Club, which attracted more than 230 golfers. Joyce Mwiga emerged as the overall winner with 34 points. Dr. Waihenya with 43 points came as runners-up, while Iliana's came third with 41 points. The Standard Group promised to sponsor another tournament next year. Group Financial Director Orlando Lyomo said the aim for the tournament is to interact with viewers, readers and listeners of the company's products. Orlando thanked the golfers for turning out in large numbers, adding that the aim of the company is to give the customers what they want. Kenya Defence College Commandant Major General George Owino said apart from Moi Air Base and Thika Barracks, plans are underway to come up with more golf courses in other barracks.
We are just starting up and we appreciate the support of everybody. KDF Golf Club is a club that we play golf just to demystify golf.
The whole idea as a company is to use the platform of golf to interact with our clients, to sensitize our clients to what we are doing, who we are, any new things that, any new products that are out there. And at the end of the day, to also have a good time. So it will not be too official. Don't expect too many sponsors' speeches from myself and anyone. This is really about us and our clients, us and our readers, Standard and our listeners, Standards and our viewers.